Climate change is threatening species all around the world. Every added degree of temperature has its consequences. How can we respond? To answer that question, it is important to discuss the environmental problem, its impact, its negativity affecting our species, which are crucial for the environment and our lives. There are many ways in which our society can mitigate its effects and help protect the animals.
Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. Some factors that affect the Earth's climate include natural processes such as changes in the sun's activity or volcanic eruptions, and human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels, cutting down trees, using transportation, manufacturing goods, among others. Since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change due to the burning of fossil fuels. Their actions have released large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, warming the world really fast. The average temperature of the Earth's surface is now about 1.1 Celsius warmer than it was in the late 1800s before the Industrial Revolution, and warmer than at any time in the last 100,000 years. The last decade was the warmest on record, and each of the last 4 decades has been warmer than any previous decade since 1850.
According to the 2023 Global Climate Report from NOAA, National Centers for Environmental Information, 2023 was the warmest year since global records began in 1850 by a wide margin. That year, the global surface temperature was 2.12 degrees Fahrenheit, above the 20th century average of 57.0 degrees Fahrenheit. Moreover, in 2023, global temperature exceeded the pre-industrial average by 2.43 degrees Fahrenheit.
Some of the consequences of climate change on animals include natural disasters, habitat loss, changes in life cycle patterns, extinction, and migration. Floods, hurricanes, and fires are occurring more frequently. Intense storms can destroy nesting trees, drown animals, spread invasive species, and damage aquatic ecosystems. Droughts and intense heat reduce the amount of available water, posing a huge survival risk. For example, Asian elephants need to drink a lot of fresh water to survive. Droughts and water shortages make it more difficult for them to get all the water they need. Habitats are beginning to shift, shrink, melt, and even disappear entirely from climate change. For example, polar bears depend on the Arctic sea ice to live and hunt. Because of rising global temperatures, sea ice is rapidly melting, making it much harder for polar bears to survive. Animals have to alter their breeding and feeding patterns in order to fight against climate change. More animals are becoming extinct due to the effects of climate change. The golden toad is an extinct toad species native to Costa Rica. The reproductive cycle was tied to the amount of rainfall in its environment, with its larvae laid underground in the forest floors. Changes in weather patterns meant that heavy rain often stranded the larvae on the ground, while at other times there wasn't enough rain to keep the toads hydrated. As a result, the golden toad was unable to reproduce. In addition, climate change encouraged chytridiomycosis, a fungal disease that affects vital functions of amphibian skin. The combination of these factors caused their extinction. Rising temperatures affect vegetation, food sources, and access to water. Ecosystems may become unlivable for certain animals, forcing them to migrate in search of food and livable conditions. Climate change affects bird migration in more ways than one. With warmer temperatures earlier in the year and less water, the timing of their travels, as well as their paths, are greatly affected. How can we save animals from climate change? Reduce harmful emissions, use renewable resources such as solar panels, wind turbines, hydroelectric power plants, among others. Employ sustainable transportation such as using electric vehicles, bicycles, trains, or do carpooling. Implement and/or support sustainable agricultural programs. Some examples include the National Sustainable Agricultural Coalition and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture.
Support conservation efforts, practice sustainable consumption, prioritize the creation and effective management of protected areas, and encourage community engagement and locally led adaptations.
Climate change is one of the most significant problems that the world is facing today. It not only affects humans, but it is also making our most precious wildlife more vulnerable. As the planet heats up, we experience extreme weather, floods, fires, and droughts. These threaten the lives and ecosystems of wild animals.
However, actions can be taken in order to reduce the impact of climate change. We must educate people, encourage them to take action, and unite as a community to make change. Together, we can create a sustainable future for wildlife and humans.